the team is deep. I'll give them that. I think there's a lot of
Mm.
talent. I think even if you look at the players who weren't taken to the Euros, there's quite a number of good players there. The problem is with these international tournaments, you don't actually go that deep anyway. So you're going to be pretty reliant on the starting lineup. And to be honest, I don't even think Lucho took the best team he possibly could have.
The selection,
Right.
right?
So even if we have to go deep, like if there's an injury right now to either Laporte or Pau Torres or Marcos Llorente, we're kind of screwed, right? So we're hoping that
Hmm.
doesn't happen. Um,
Hmm.
I think Torres and Laporte have had their good moments. They've also had their shaky moments in both these two games, which we'll get to. We've only discussed the Sweden game and those dangerous Sweden counterattacks. But
Yeah.
um, I feel like we have superstars. Like the one that jumps out at me that like hasn't played for some inexplicable reason is Thiago. I don't know where he is. Even
Hmm.
like when he brought in Fabian off the bench today, I was
Yeah.
like, how? The only thing I could think, okay, maybe he's relying on Fabian to shoot from distance because that's something that maybe Luis Enrique would rely on. But
Yeah.
I don't understand how like pure talent and being able to dictate play, Thiago's the best midfielder we have,
It is
and
very bizarre.
that's a bizarre one. The insistence on Sarabia is weird to me for sure.
Hmm.
Sarabia off the bench today put himself in like these. He found himself in these two really good opportunities, and his touch was just terrible in both those situations. Also,
Hmm.
I guess it was a nice chest pass to Morata in the second half. Dude, just shoot it from there. You're point blank. Why are you passing it at all? So the one thing that I think did work, it was a great adjustment, was bringing Moreno into the lineup. A lot of people thought he would have started over Morata. I didn't mind Moreno on the right. I thought he created danger from the right. His crossing was good. He cut in and shot. Even the penalty, it wasn't like a terribly struck penalty. I won't blame him for that. Um,
Keeper dove the right way. Were you surprised about? Obviously, Lucha shut people like us up that said that for sure Morata was not going to be included. Still discussing the possibilities of how that could affect Morata, of course, and the confidence that would undoubtedly be given. But when that titular came out, Morata y 10 más, because this is like a typical saying, right? In Spain, it's like when a coach banks on a player and says, "Is that player and 10 others." What did you think of that?
I don't know if I remember saying that for sure he wouldn't start, but I certainly thought like if Moreno was going to start, I would have been surprised that it was over Ferran Torres and not Morata. At the same time, wouldn't have been that shocked because Moreno's played on the right wing for Spain or for Villarreal quite a bit this season too. Sometimes when Samu and Kubo were benched early in the season, he went to the right quite a bit. Samu, a lot of the time, he just wasn't starting. Moreno would go to the right, Alcácer up top. Like Emery would play with that quite a bit. So I wasn't surprised to see him on the right. Yeah, I guess I am surprised a little bit. But you and I did discuss that to our credit. Thirdly, like Morata's a fragile guy, like mentally. Like, so what does that do? Does that shatter his confidence if you bench him for? So I actually think, I don't know. I think we're part of the people who shut people up. We don't get shut up here. You get it? I think we're on like Lucho shut some people up. We shut some people up. We're all in this together. It's a
Great
collaborative
goal.
effort.
It was a great goal for Morata. It was a great hustle. I mean, you talk about a player that moves into the right place at the right time. The way he got, in from behind the number 18 from Poland, I forget his name, but he really sneaked up on behind him and then, tapped in the goal. It was a good goal. It was more than a tap in for me. It was a good, run and knowing
Good
the
off ball
space and
movement.
time.
Good off
Good
ball
off ball
movement.
movement.
I also like
Correct.
even the cut in from Gerard Moreno, even though he kind of scuffed the shot, it was such a
That was a
perfect
shot.
scuff. It was definitely a shot.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't hit it like he wanted, but even that's what Moreno brings to the table,
Like
right? I mean,
Morata.
he cuts in, he has decoys,
Yeah.
he looks people up, but then he slices a
Yeah.
pass or a shot or whatever, and it was the right play, and that's what Moreno brings. Ferran Torres naturally, because he's right-footed, he's not going to cut in with that. If you want to, because you hate Dani Olmo, maybe you could put Ferran on the left in a game like this. By the way, I know maybe this is moot talking about it, and maybe this is reactionary, but I think if you put Ansu Fati on the left in this team becomes way more dangerous.
The whole time I'm thinking Ansu. I mean, not just with Barca as well, also with the Spanish national side and how different this team would be. Yeah, it would add so much. I mean, think about it. Poland. Let's be honest. I'm not. don't think I'm being disrespectful when I say Spain had one mission, and that was to stop Lewandowski from scoring. And that's exactly what happened. Lewandowski scored a goal. It was a good goal. I'm not saying that Poland was bad on the evening neither. I think Poland deserves a lot of credit for how they came out and how they made life difficult for Spain, pressed a lot, were very brave, I think. Talk about off-ball movement. I mean, they never saw the ball, but they were very good in their defending and very, very strategized and capitalized on their really one shot. I mean, when did Poland ever create danger for Spain? Not much at all. And I forget the point I guess I was trying to make. So how much difference one player makes in a team. And a player like Ansu Fati. But this doesn't just go for this Euro Cup. This goes for the entire Barca season and the one upcoming. Because I don't know if we're going to get to it, but Memphis Depay has been announced. Mm-hmm. And he will become a Barca player. So I do wonder how that will affect Ansu's development. And of course, we have to see how he comes back from this long-term injury, which has been a nagging issue and a worrisome one for that matter.
So I can't speak to this entirely because I don't really know much about Polish football. But actually, I think there are actually a couple Polish Kool-Aids who listen to this podcast. So if you're listening to this, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I think this Polish team is actually supposed to be pretty good. I mean, the only one I really know about is Lewandowski and Szczesny. So, but from what I know, they're kind of from a pure talent standpoint, they would have been arguably the second favorites along with Sweden. Like it would have been neck and neck for who would have finished second on paper anyway. And
between Spain and Poland?
Between Sweden and Poland.
Oh, Sweden. So, excuse me. Sorry. Yeah. So, assuming Spain will be first, right?
Assuming Spain was first, which is still theoretically possible. I actually was impressed with them. Like I was more impressed with them than I was with Sweden. I actually thought they played better than Sweden. They defended much better. They defended higher up the pitch. They pressed, both to start the first and second halves, they pressed high and gave even a press resistant team like Spain some problems passing out of the back. I think Spain eventually figured that out and were able to bypass it. But you look at the way there was a fascinating battle on the wings here, Diego, because you had on one hand, everything Spain does virtually goes through the wing backs, which is like, this is a little bit of a deviation from the golden generation that basically dominated everything through central midfield and would distribute out wide and hit, diagonal balls. This one, Marcos Llorente, 125 touches, game high. Number 2, Jordi Alba, 123 touches, and no one else got into the hundreds. Everything was through the two wingbacks. And on the flip side, Poland, every time they got the ball, they would try to exploit that and go down the wings and then try to feed Lewandowski. And I thought it was just an interesting battle looming there. And I think a little bit of disservice to say it was just Lewandowski in this game. If you look at Poland's two main chances in the first half, they both came from Alba's side. One of them was the Alba heavy touch giveaway, which led to, someone on Poland, I think, hits the post, and then Lewandowski, the rebound, he can't score. Unai Simon saves. And another one where Lewandowski actually gets on that side, on the right-hand side, and he crosses it, and Pau Torres lets one of these Polish guys sneak in. I can't remember his name. Starts with an S, forgive me. So there were just moments like that in transition, and also the press that gave Spain some difficulties. And then can I just go back to your Olmo point for a second? I think Moreno 100% has to start every game. Like, he is the best chance of creation and goal scoring we have, even though Morata scored today. No one else is doing anything really. Pedri is playing really well in midfield. I have no real issues with the midfield. Same story as game 1, by the way. Koke, his passing wasn't as good in this game, but he works really hard. Rodri is fine. These guys, the midfield is fine. They're not getting enough production from the wingers. Gerard Moreno came in today, had 4 shots. That was huge because Olmo only had 1 shot, and Ferran Torres only had that 1 shot, that header, in the second half. So they're not really creating much opportunities from that side. And I wonder, it's one of those things where Lucho is doing a lot of good things, but there's something that just missing. Yeah. There's something missing. I think Moreno helps with that a lot. Another thing that I was thinking of,